So I'm going to end the conference the way I started, with some data. You know, the big questions as we leave are going to be around, you know, what's next, what's the call to action, how do we translate this energy into stuff. But first we have to understand where we are, so that next year we'll know whether we've advanced, we've stayed treading the water, or we've backslid. So I'm going to go through a couple statistics, and think of this as potentially part of a scorecard that we can create for the state of North Carolina, because that's one of our to-dos coming out of this, is, you know, what's going to be a scorecard that we can do longitudinally year after year to say, okay, are we moving the needle or not, right? The EIG data is one definite component of that. So watching where our distressed communities, you know, proceed from here, there should be a lot of people paying attention to that, and then we are going to really pay attention also to where we are from an entrepreneurship standpoint. So, opportunity share of new entrepreneurs. That's the percent of entrepreneurs who actually create a business by choice instead of necessity. A lot of the entrepreneurs that are doing this, especially in rural communities, are, you know, we have euphemisms like survival entrepreneurs. They're doing it out of necessity. This particular data point is specific to people that are choosing to start a business. You know, forget about necessarily the percent. Just look at the number on the left, where we rank nationally. North Carolina ranks 17th. Nationally. The next one would be the percentage of startups that are still active after 1 year. This speaks to the support ecosystem, right? How well, I mean, it's one thing to be great getting them out of the gate, but if we, boom, you're out and we drop them, what's the point of that? Do you like that? That's a lot of energy for the end of the day, right? What's the point? So here's our, you know, not so good news. We're not even in the middle. We're just below. We're 26th in the country. By the way, if you're guessing that I stacked these slides in a certain progression, you're right. Percent of the population that starts a new business. Nationally, 3 out of every 1,000 people start a new business every month in this country. That's the national ranking. We're below that. Dr. Feldman had data in her presentation, you know, yesterday that was tracking this by county, and we have a lot of our rural counties in particular that are well below this, and then there were a handful of counties that are more than double, right? So it would be awesome is to see the ones that are below, if we can start bringing them up. I don't want to do anything to suppress the ones that are doing it great. Let's wish them well and hope they keep on doing it, but we got to bring everybody else up at the same point. That's 29th nationally. And then finally, the average number of jobs created by startups. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a big part of why we do this, right? It's job creation, it's wealth creation, it's solving the problems of society that humanity needs solved, right? And we're 30th in the nation. There'll be time after the summit to ask why and how come, and let's figure all that out, and we will. But it's important to know the starting point, right? Because we have to be committed to this, and we have to hold ourselves accountable that we're doing this. Otherwise, all this energy is a little more than a hallucination. And, you know, that may be the way they do it in other states, but it isn't going to be the way we do it in North Carolina. So we're going to measure it. We're going to have honest conversations. I have a feeling y'all are going to think we should probably do this again next year. So, thanks. So assuming that's the case, we'll report on this data, okay? So what does it really come down to? It's empowerment, it's humanity, it's how I opened. You know, Gary had that great definition he quoted from somebody else on what the definition of being illiterate is, and that's the inability to unlearn, relearn something. You know, right now, thank you Amazon, right? There is a national shortage of truck drivers. So let's say, and let's just torture this scenario, right? Let's say you just are a recently displaced coal miner, and you're like, okay, I just lost my livelihood. You know, what could I go to next? Well, I've read there's a critical shortage of drivers. The trucking industry is changing, right? And so you get yourself all ginned up to go do this and retool yourself. But guess what's happening at the very same time we're experiencing this shortage? The 46 largest corporations in the world. I mean, you saw this in Ted's video. right? The trucks. You know, it's been happening already for years in ocean-going freighters. You notice you haven't heard the pirate stories for several years? It's because those big boats are ostensibly locked steel boxes now that are controlled by satellite. So what do you do to the person that is today working for a career that's going to be obsolete again in 3 to 5 years? I mean, I've got the answer. We have to empower them with an entrepreneurial mindset so that they can adapt. So that's the thought I want to leave you with. That's the thought I want us to close on. It really comes down to the question of redefining what an ecosystem is. I opened the slide or the show with this, said it was a noun. Let's change it. Let's call it ecosysteming. We're going to create a new word today. Okay? And let's change it to a verb. To foster inclusive economic development with entrepreneurship. Right? And what does that really mean? It means diverse groups and individuals with the willingness, right? We have to be a coalition of the willing. They have to be knowledgeable. I don't mean to disparage good intentions, but we need people that know what they're talking about to get involved in this space. They need to have the time, the patience to commit to it, and they need resources. We need more resources. I could 3x the output of NC Idea tomorrow if we had it. Because I see the need. You all saw the need on display the last 2 days. The need is there. We have to find the resources to do it. And a lot of this is happening formally and informally. We're going to help people realize their full entrepreneurial potential. That's why we're going to do this. So as we part ways today as new friends, please think about what will we celebrate next year. And with that, I thank you all and officially close the summit for this year.